all that other stuff, I was like, I made it. Was she? Minutes for you to sign to before you give her an offer. As long as they get approved. Then I have to watch it in the edit. January, I made the edit.
Yeah. They came and measured just to make sure, and we're good, but like, hair on your cheek. Yeah.
Really? That's not good. I'm sorry, what was it?
Well, you know, we have some,
As far as,
And I'm sure he.
no, I think because it was approved with those changes. And so I just edited it and reprinted it.
Henley is not.
Yeah, we don't have to bring it back.
And some boys have been sent
Now, if they hadn't have approved it, with the changes, then, yeah.
over yesterday that she was not his favorite.
He hasn't learned a promise.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
New diplomacy.
Yeah, I joke, I said, I have, grandkids, I have multiple grandkids, I just, their names change every year.
Well, you know, we researched what happened. There you go. There you go. And everything else is positive.
Addie, how are you? Haven't seen you in a while either. Where's your last name?
I wasn't there
Yeah, there was,
January, it was,
you had trouble pulling in.
well, I did, and then.
Yeah, we lost you, yeah. We've done a lot of family, you
That
know.
was in January, it was rainy, and I just had cataract surgery, and I had not driven at night, and I was like, yeah,
But so
done.
now she and the whole, and Gary's in there.
And,
So they all go,
but yeah, I could hear fine, but somehow, when I tried to
you
talk,
never know what's gonna happen. I told somebody.
I tried everything,
So let's, that's, you gotta be ready for it. No, she don't know.
no, and, I couldn't get my Zoom to work, so I was like. But no, but I was here last week, or
Last month.
last month.
But this weather that we've had.
We were, was that at Warrensburg?
Was I there?
It was in Orange.
I think so.
Okay.
Thank you.
You were there.
Boy, made it out, yeah, well, anyhow, after that, the weather stuff.
How are you, Ron?
Like, oh, he is the best thing. I mean, he is just.
Jackie? Or
Just within 40
Judy?
miles.
I know, Judy, been in jail there.
Tired today?
She's wonderful.
I came home from the hospital yesterday.
Oh, no. Are you better?
No. I don't have the pain that I had when I went in Saturday night to the
Well,
ER.
that's better.
That was our real grandmother.
Did they find anything?
Oh, yeah, I got kidney.
Where was our first mother's mother?
In my good kidney.
She ended up in.
Kidney stone? Oh, kidney stone, painful.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't had it, but I take care of people with
Yeah.
kidney.
They took
By
that,
the time I moved around and jumped around so big, I dislodged.
and those two and I was there.
And then I went up
I grew up there, they grew up over there.
to take Luke, which is where my urologist works.
We didn't do each other.
I know, but that's, he was in Mexico.
Didn't he know I was coming?
Oh, no, no, not at all. So, you know, and almost Myron has been, you know, first one, I guess, you know, I met. I generally like so much.
I know we do, but if we pay it, then we'll
How dare he be there when you're here?
Yeah, I know, so I did. He left. I didn't know you were coming.
The last time he did.
I think it's just as,
Now,
so, I mean, I don't think we do refunds or anything, it's too complicated with, where we have 60
You've had this before? So can they actually?
He goes somewhere every year and he's gone.
Well, you know, and there's so much, and of course, we try to recoup the cost.
Where are you going this year?
So that I make sure that
so now I have.
that is around.
From now on, you should include me.
But by the time they got to me.
Okay. you know, after he showed up, and like, nice, you know, nice kid, like, nice people, just nice daughters, educated, you know. And I said, you know, you didn't know they were in there.
Wow, that sounds painful.
You know, and it's like, you have to wake up, you know, my husband. I know, but. He doesn't like. Yeah, and I mean, he just laughed, we have laughed about that forever. And I said, getting older, and that was like.
I certainly did.
I did. Oh, that, oh, so it's.
But I guess
It's been good, but yeah, it's, this way I like, so, you know, mine died, and so I'm kind of on the other end of it now, you know.
Okay, I will call the meeting to order. Jackie's pulling an invoice on a check, so. I can't remember, are we doing roll calls still or not? I can't remember. Okay. Judy, can we get a roll call, please?
Judy Walter. Yes. Patty Law. Here. Jane Theo. Here. Carla Dillon.
Here.
Sandy Hickey.
Here, for real.
Ron McMillan.
Here.
Tyler, I'm here, and Scotty Walker.
Here. Okay, everybody's here. Before we get to public comments, I would like to read a statement, please. And I'm going to read it because I'm not good at off-the-cuff speaking. So it's been a pleasure the past year and a half as the relationship with the board and the director have calmed down, and based on the observations from the director's evaluation surveys, everything in the library seems to be running more smoothly than it has in the previous 4 years under the 2 previous directors. There's still improvements to be made, but I'm happy this board has found a director who's moving us in the right direction. As you know, in the early summer of 2022, I appointed a committee of 4 to develop procedures to evaluate the director's performance. I was not involved in the committee work. My only involvement was when I asked why the work seemed stalled and was told that Jana was not communicating with the rest of the committee. At that point, I emailed her to ask when the work would resume and the evaluation could be completed. The next day, I received an email from her that she was resigning from the board and would not be doing anything further. I was not given the courtesy of a reason, nor was the committee or staff as far as I'm aware. I asked the committee if they wanted to appoint a replacement, or if they wanted me to appoint a replacement, but was told they would just resume as a committee of 3. My next involvement with the committee was being invited to participate in their final meeting when they would review the surveys and come up with a plan of action for discussion with Jackie. The meeting went very well, and we all gave input and thoughts and adjourned on good terms, or so I thought. The next morning, I received an email from Georgia telling me she was resigning from the board immediately. I couldn't imagine what had happened in the 12 hours since we had met. I tried to call her, but got no answer, so I sent her a text message asking if we could talk, and she responded certainly. After that, I tried to call twice and got no answer, and no call back from the voicemails I left. So I have no idea why she left either. I have little respect for people who will not fulfill their commitments or respond why. I've never treated anyone on this board with disrespect or treated them as anything but an equal. And as long as I've been board president, I've always allowed everyone to have their say. I never believed it was the job of the president to tell a fellow board member what they could or could not say. Regarding the evaluation, I'll defer to the committee under the new business portion of the agenda. Later in the agenda, I'm asking the board to consider repealing the bylaw regarding term limits. I'll address my reasoning for that when we get to that portion of the agenda. I will end this portion of my remarks by stating that my service on this board is purely for the purpose of making sure that we have a great library system and to be an advocate for our community branches to make sure they are not lost in the shuffle or neglected by the bigger system. Yes, I look out for my branch, but I also look out for all the branches, and I always have. It's my belief that board members should do the same. I think it's silly that branch staff cannot talk with board members about what is going on in their branch. We are the people in the community daily. How can the administration truly know or understand what the community library needs from their office in Warrensburg? Going forward, I would like to see any future board president have a roundtable with, as we go around and just ask, what's going on in each of our libraries? So that's just a recommendation for future board presidents. At that point, there are no questions. Yes?
Did you throw these ladies away?
No. I have my suspicions, but.
Whatever.
Well, and would you disagree that I didn't involve myself in the committee, the works, committee work?
No, not till we
Okay,
invited.
until I was invited, okay. Do we have any public comments? Okay, I was told we would, but we'll move on.
Well, we have.
Oh,
Branch
yeah,
manager, Laura.
yeah.
Soapbox. Oh, I said, okay, hi. Hi, I'm Laura Parent. I'm the branch manager here. I have been branch manager for 7 years and with Trails for almost 13. So I like it a little bit here. Plan to stay around for as long as they'll keep me. Anyhow, I don't have too much to really share. A little bit. I have a little bit of bragging to do on my branch and on my staff. Everything's going really good. Our story times were doing so well that we had to open them up to 2 every on Wednesday mornings because we had such a good turnout for our little town. Let's see, what else? My little notes here, because I'm not good off the cuff either. And I only do this every blue moon, so, the parents are really appreciating that we broke that up. We go to Head Start once a month for outreach. We started Adult Book Club, first one that's been in Knob for quite a while. Great turnout for that. We had 12 adults last one, so it was pretty good. Let's see, we started a family Lego club for the kiddos and their siblings for any age really, and that's really going over well. We had 12 for that, our second one of those. And so everything's going really good with programming and fully staffed, which is kind of unusual for Little Knob Noster, and we're really happy about it. But the big news, I have some exciting news, was on your table. I printed off a couple things on the Smithsonian traveling exhibit that we're going to have here called Crossroads. And we were picked along with 5 other libraries, small rural libraries. Well, I don't know if they're all libraries, but locations where they'll be. And we're really excited about that. It's actually an honor to be able to host that. And so that'll be here in December through, December 18th through January 29th here in this meeting room. So lots of exciting stuff coming up. Really? Yes, any questions? That's it. That's all I have for you.
Thank you very much.
All right, consent agenda items. I guess. Do
I would say-
you want to address this?
Because I don't know why this was sent through,
Okay,
because I did not sign off on this.
so the check for the roofing check.
Oh, I was questioning that too. In fact, I mentioned.
This did not come across my desk,
Okay.
so I'm not sure.
This is still not
Your desk
finished.
where the buck stops, right?
Do what?
Your desk where the buck stops.
Well, it just pauses there for a little bit.
Oh, well, you see, that's kind of Truman's from Missouri, so we have to.
I move we approve the consent agenda.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
I
Are there any opposed? All right, consent agenda passes.
have a question though. Don't we have to approve minutes?
Oh,
They're in there.
It's in the consent agenda.
It doesn't say that.
It doesn't.
but we didn't, did we get minutes?
Yeah, on the first.
Oh, yes,
And then you had the
Yeah,
session
that's right.
too.
Not all
No,
of
wait a
Not
minute.
all of it, actually.
He does your
Part of it.
job. I resent them back out.
Oh,
it. I saw it
Yeah.
today. I think.
okay.
I didn't,
I didn't think that.
So,
Can we?
We'll go ahead
Or we
and,
have to do it
we'll
next-
have an approval of minutes. If somebody will make the motion, Ron,
Yeah, I move we approve the minutes.
all right.
I second it.
All right, motion by Ron, second by Patty. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, any opposed? Thank you. Unfinished business, I will have, who's talking, okay?
We finished the director evaluation. It was a favorable evaluation. We met with Jackie. She has agreed to continue to stay on as the library director, which we are thrilled to have her. So we did finish the process.
All right. And I'd like to thank the committee for the work you did. I appreciate it. I know it was long and kind of got drug out, but I appreciate the work and I'm sure.
We do too. I really appreciate it.
All right.
It's a learning
We're gonna nominate next year.
experience.
You're not gonna volunteer, you're gonna
It's a learning
nominate.
experience.
We'll nominate.
We'll nominate next year.
Did you have anything to say about the evaluation?
Not anything other than what I had said about the form. I wasn't happy about the three. But I know everybody worked really hard on it, to try to make it a good, fair evaluation, so I do appreciate that, but yeah, let's not use that form again.
To concur with the form, when I got mine, and I was like, I want a multiple choice question, not an essay test.
It was 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, but then there were essay questions.
Yeah, there was the second one.
I ignore it.
All right, new business, board of trustee applications. We have 2 vacant seats for Johnson County. 1 seat expires June 30th of 2026. These are both, filling unfinished terms.
I'm so glad you looked it up on Instagram.
So the seat of, Jana Brookshire, will expire June the 30th of 26. The seat of Georgia Jarman expires June 30th of 24.
I have a question, and I know it's not on the agenda, but maybe it could be on our agenda next time. Since we've had so many applicants, I think it would be nice if we would be able to interview them, since that's so many people. You know, that's a couple people, and depending on whatever else takes place, I just think it would be nice that we would have that opportunity to, at least sit in and visit with them a little bit. Whether we have,
Do you know the requirements if we do that?
No,
We have to have them all, and we have to ask them the same identical question.
oh, that's fine. Yeah, I've done that. I've done those kind of things before. You ask the exact same questions to everybody and, you know, give them a chance to come and, yeah, I think that's perfect. I just think when we have that much of a change to the board, I think that we need to, you know, see, you know, just learn about them just a little bit. I mean, granted, we have that piece of paper, but that's not like sitting there face to face with them one-on-one.
Only 2 people. And when we change over at the end of the year, we usually have more than that.
Well, there may only be 2 vacancies, but we have a lot
Seven
more,
applicants.
we have a lot of applicants. Yeah, we ended up with 7. So 7 applicants, that's a lot. Considering before we did not have, I mean, it seemed like we were on the short end of the stick for people to serve on the board, and usually came through a recommendation versus actually people filling out an application. So I just think that's something that I think we need to do, and, you know, just as, you know, the world has changed a whole lot. So I think we need to, you know, to interview or visit with them. I don't know what you want to
I'm
call it.
perfectly fine with reading a piece of paper. I can get a lot of, like, read between the lines.
I think so too. If you speak, you can get a better feel.
You can get a better feel.
I think, if in person. I mean, you can glean some information from this, but it doesn't tell you what face-to-face talking does, I don't think.
I would agree.
And, I mean, I would volunteer to, I don't know if everybody wants to do that, or, but I'd be willing to be the first one to volunteer to be a part of that process if we could.
It would have to be the whole board, I believe.
I would
I would think that,
Well, I would think of an applicant is willing to fill out an application, they wouldn't have a problem with coming and meeting.
Exactly, that too, yeah.
I've done this in other libraries and I've never had an issue with people. I mean, we had a set of 4, 5, 6 questions, I forget how many. And they asked the same question. So they would ask all the others to leave,
Yeah.
even though it's a public meeting, but sometimes it's uncomfortable to answer in front of your
Yeah.
competition. And so they would just ask them the same question.
Yeah, so each one would be asked the same questions, just.
Yeah.
Or musical chair there.
So is that something you want me to put on the agenda for April to discuss? Or
I would like that to be on the agenda.
Okay, here, Ron,
Wait,
have that on the agenda for next,
yeah, but if we put it on the agenda, that mean then after that we'll talk with them or?
Well, so if you put it on the agenda for April, then you would have the discussion whether you were actually going to interview them.
Yeah, right.
Then you would have to
That's
come
what I
up with the questions and, yeah. So it would delay it some.
But we've
Okay.
got till June, kind of, well.
Well, for the
Yeah,
other
yeah,
ones that are
right.
gonna be vacant, yeah.
Right, so that's, I think that's why we just have to be careful and.
Well. Okay. I'm just wondering if you wanted to go ahead and vote anybody in tonight and then make it in the future, or do we want to wait and do the interviews?
I think we need to wait, we have so many applicants.
Yeah.
Could we have, do you think maybe we could have like a special board meeting?
You could always have
Yeah,
a
could we have a
special.
special meeting?
And just do that?
You could always do that.
That's gonna take a little bit of time. That's gonna make the meeting rather lengthy.
Yeah, let's set up a special time. Or special meeting, no, I think that's fine. What do you think,
I
Ron?
agree, we're gonna stay on.
well, that's up in the agenda next.
Yeah, I'm down here.
Okay. So when do you want,
Because I know one person that has applied is here.
There's
That's
two.
it.
two,
There's
two,
Is there
yeah,
another?
there's two, yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want to be on board?
Bill and Goldie.
County.
Let's, I make a motion, we set a special date to interview prospective board members with same questions, each person getting the same set of questions, and
Okay, are we doing this tonight, or do we have to wait till it's on the agenda?
I'm.
Well, we're talking about the appointing the applicant, so I think it's appropriate that you could do that if that's the process you want to take.
And then you have to find a night that we're available
Yes.
and the people are available.
Right.
Yeah.
But if we're all interested enough, people will make the effort.
Depending upon if there isn't something already
Yeah.
scheduled, they can.
Well, I think it should be in Warrensburg for centrality, yeah.
Yeah, I think that too. You can add that. It
And,
should be
and
in
plus the
Warrensburg.
fact that, you know, the vacancies are in Johnson County, so. Name a time.
We have a motion.
Don't you need?
We have a motion.
We have a,
I made it a motion, so somebody's gonna have to second it.
I'll second it.
all right. The motion was just to have the meeting, but you didn't have a day or a time.
No, we do not have a date or
Okay.
time, but to have a meeting in Warrensburg to interview prospective board members, applicants with, and they will all have the same questions, but they will be interviewed separately.
I think you got it all in.
I don't know if I will.
In Warrensburg. did you say?
In Warrensburg, yes, I said in Warrensburg,
And
yes.
then the Johnson County Commissioners will make the decision as to who will be coming on the board.
Yes.
Yes, after, yeah,
The
then
county
they have to be
commissioners make the
approved
final.
after that, just like always.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Just hang on.
Okay,
Check
okay.
them. Who's aye?
Oh, second eye, which
Every-
eye are you talking about?
I'm talking about to have the meeting.
Have the meeting.
How many ayes? Okay,
All
no.
opposed? That motion carries. Now, when,
Pick a night. You wanna do it on Wednesday night, like we have our board meetings?
Doesn't matter
that
to
would,
me.
that would be most easy, consistent, yeah.
Does that work for our, two of our people that are here, two of our applicants that are here, would a Wednesday night work? Does that work for you, Bill?
Depends on when,
Okay,
but I do have a trip planned that will be getting back just in time for the next meeting.
oh, okay, okay.
Well, I
But
would
yeah,
say
between now and the, 4th of May, I'm available, or 4th of April, I'm available.
You're available, okay, all right, perfect, thank you. Couple of weeks, isn't it?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, why can't we meet in a week or 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
We
yeah. you
already
don't
have
to-
the applicants, there's no,
Yeah.
all we gotta do is come up with questions, there's no reason to drag it out.
Yeah,
What about March 22nd?
I can't be here then, but that's fine.
Does it need,
It-
do we have working people that we need to do it at night? I guess,
Well, some of the applicants are probably
yeah,
working.
so I'm just wondering if we could, set it at 5:30 or something. so
I think
we
you can do it earlier maybe than the 7 o'clock, like our
Yeah, that's
normal
what I'm
meeting.
saying, yeah. 5:30 or 6, I would think, but, so the next
Say-
Wednesday's the
It
29th.
doesn't have to be Wednesday,
No.
yeah.
So what about the 23rd? That gives people a week.
I can't.
Okay.
Can't do it. 22nd,
And all you have to have is, I mean, you just have to have a quorum. That's it.
So we need,
You would need 5 for a quorum. Actually, 6, sorry.
yeah,
You
6.
need
I was gonna say, we would need 6.
That's the quorum of the, if we had the board full.
Right.
I couldn't say right now.
Right now it'd be 5.
It'd be fine.
Yeah,
The
so,
quorum is of the full board, even though we don't have a full board.
So we could still do it, just Jane wouldn't be here.
Well, Judy, don't you have a meeting that night too? Which night? 23rd. Thursday night. Yes? We have the same meeting.
Does the 22nd work? Well, I said you
Yeah,
could.
yeah.
does the 22nd work for other people?
That's
Is
a
that
Wednesday.
Wednesday?
That's a Wednesday.
Next
Mhm.
Wednesday, it's a week from tonight.
That's next week.
Mhm.
I think so.
I think so.
I mean, unless it involves, somebody not wanting to miss church, I mean, that's,
Yeah.
Haven't made it, oh, yeah, I did make.
That works for me.
But we're losing our secretary, so you'll have to have somebody has to take notes.
Somebody would have to take.
We can't
I'll do
lose our
that.
secretary.
You'll take them? I'll take the minutes. Thank you.
So we're in agreement on March the 22nd,
A week from tonight,
a week from
Can
tonight.
you-
what time?
let's say, can we say 5:30, at least for the board to be there? And
I
then
can,
if, hopefully the people could be there by 6 o'clock if we had to. I mean, at least we're there and if they can be there at 5:30, that's great. Whoever, because, we're not gonna talk to them all at the same time,
no, we can talk to one at a time, won't we?
you know?
But isn't it a problem for me? Are you having everybody stay the whole time, or are you having?
No, you could come and go. I think, I
Yeah,
don't,
I don't see why they can't come and go.
yeah, we could,
Well, that's what she's saying, are you gonna set an appointment?
we could, 15 minutes, say you start one at 5:30 and
I can make the arrangements
Yeah.
and get a hold of everyone and
Okay.
give them a time.
And I think 15 minutes,
15 minutes?
15
I think
minutes
so,
is
yeah.
more than, 10 to 15 is
Yeah.
plenty.
So we're doing it when?
Next Wednesday.
March 22nd.
March 22nd.
At 5:30? Is that what you said?
Is there anybody else that would volunteer to help me set up questions?
I'll help you.
Okay, Patty and I can get together. We live- Patty. We'll get together. Okay.
All right.
We'll figure
Is
out.
that good, is that good, everybody? Patty and I will get together and set up some questions and,
If y'all need any help, let me know.
okay, hey, we can Zoom you.
Sure.
Would that be okay?
I've done this at other places, so
Okay.
I kind of know some of the questions.
Okay,
that-
that's,
so,
well, I
yeah,
don't
if
think
you
we
need
need a
any help,
lot.
No,
We don't
4 or 5.
Yeah, 4 or 5
maybe 6
tops.
at the most, yeah.
Okay, we have one application for the, foundation board for the vacant seat in Lafayette County. And this is our appointment to make. Whose seat is empty?
Oh, Lafayette, who left?
Karen, who left, Lafayette County?
Is she in Lafayette?
Oh, yeah, she, yeah, she
Okay.
lives in Lafayette.
Then it would be
Waverly.
Oh, when'd she leave?
Back in the
That was the
fall.
last meeting.
I think it was
Okay.
back in the fall.
Back in the
Okay.
fall. Before the last meeting.
So we just only have this one, we only have this one for the foundation, right? This one.
Yeah.
Yeah, just one. Mhm.
Any discussion?
Application, we're not asking.
Why does the foundation appoint their own board?
How it was done.
Did I get a piece of paper on that person? I don't think I have that piece of paper.
It was at the back of all of your others. It should have the highlighting.
Oh, that one, I thought she was for Lafayette County.
Oh.
Okay, never mind, I was confused, I'm sorry.
That's
We're
why
good.
I highlight, because I
We're
figured,
good,
that some of you would get a little confused.
we're good, we're good.
So that's the only application we have, do we just say, go with that, or do
I
we
mean,
have?
if you're satisfied with her application, then, yeah, you can.
I mean, I think her application sounds okay, I don't know that much about the foundation, how it functions or whatever, but she seems to be knowledgeable, capable.
Ron, do you know her? Do you know her?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Cheryl, do you know him?
Sharon Wagner?
I think she was or suggested by Dina Abelson.
Yes,
Okay.
that's right.
We did talk to her quite a bit before, she filled out that application.
And Deanna's on the board.
Deanna's-
Okay, and she was highly recommended by Mark Schur, right?
Right.
Okay,
Not to be, not what she used to be. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought, okay.
Not yet counted.
I think that.
okay,
Dina was, yeah.
okay.
I make a motion that we put Sharon
But you would
Wagner
think, yeah.
on the foundation board.
All right, we have a motion by Judy Walters to appoint Sharon Wagner to the foundation board. Is there a second? Second by Jane Bill. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you. Okay, next up is possibly moving the May meeting. I'm a little bit confused by that one, but
So Deanna, which is, I forget her last name, which is our representative there in Wheaton at the school. And she contacted me the other day, and was like, can we move the May meeting? Because it's the last week of school, which is like chaos. And so she was hoping that she could do it in July, and I told her, well, we'll be doing the next fiscal year's board meeting in locations, and I could certainly propose for it to be in Layton in July. So she's asking that we find an alternate location for our May meeting.
Why don't we just go to Warrensburg? Everything's there.
We still need to put out all the solicitation.
No, but you can put that in the schedule when it first starts all over again.
For the next fiscal
Yeah.
year, yes.
Yeah.
When you set up the meetings, do you do it in like a rotational basis? I mean, you just kind of go around to all of them in order? Is that,
Not in order, it kind of depends on the time of year, you know.
I mean, you go through all of them and then you start over again?
And this would have
You
been,
make- yeah.
this would have been Layton's turn for this fiscal year.
Never been to,
I haven't either.
never seen the meeting.
Is it just at the school?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've been gonna go, we didn't go yet, and
She suggested July, she said that would be the best time for her.
I think
Would
that's,
it work for her to delay it a week?
So what?
To delay the meeting a week? 'Cause
Now that I don't know, I didn't ask her.
it is kind of an early part of the month, the 17th.
so who could we switch her with? Who do we go, where do we go the next month?
The next month is Holden, and that was requested by Scott Kemp. We changed that one.
Then what's the month after that?
We don't know, because that'll be July.
why don't we, she asked for July, let's give her July.
So I can just, when I bring you the proposed meeting dates,
Yeah.
location,
Just start
I
out,
can just start out with
start out with
Layton in
that.
July.
Yeah,
That works.
so is there somewhere we haven't been that we need to slide in that slot?
Concordia is next month, then Layton would have been our last one, and then we were supposed to be back in Warrensburg in June, and we switched that.
Yeah.
Quarter was in July.
So we were gonna
That's why I
try
missed
to,
it, because that was the meeting.
we were gonna try to squeeze Waverly and Quarter into summer months since they're so far out. So-
Yeah, and they
Yeah.
want Holden.
Yeah, I want
And that's right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What's that?
a lot further away than Waverly or Porter.
Well, if you're coming from
Depending
Holden,
upon
it's
where
not.
you live.
I was, I'm not a flat earther, but the last time I went to Waverly, I was afraid it was gonna fall off the edge of the earth.
Yeah, you do kind of feel like that in Waverly. Yeah, you do.
That is a long drive.
I'm in the way, southwest corner of.
Yeah, you're.
So there's
County.
there's nowhere else we have to be for this physical year.
We've been to everywhere, that would be the last one, Layton would have been the last. Because June was supposed to be back. So,
Is everybody else okay with Warrensburg?
Okay.
Everything's there, I mean, it's handy for everybody, yeah.
everything was
Everything's there,
there, y'all gonna tell me where.
Yeah, we're there,
All right.
Everything's there.
and we don't live in Warrensburg. Don't get that confused.
No, no.
All right. So we're just gonna flop Layton to July and put Warrensburg in May.
Cleveland's kind of out there too.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
It's at the other end,
Other end of the
the
earth.
other edge of the earth.
Holden, now that's.
Yeah, it's a real convenient, walk to the Holden branch.
I have
Yeah,
to
right.
saying that you gotta be going to Holden to get to Holden, because it's not on the way to anywhere.
All right. Next up is consider approving the proposed new organizational structure.
So I know I had asked you guys back last January to approve a new organizational structure. So after reviewing, seeing how everything's working, I am looking to have a couple of other changes. And I did highlight those in yellow where the areas are that are changing. I'll start under support services, so the custodian two, will be moving under support services. Currently, they were supervised by the Warrensburg branch manager, but because they, clean 3 branches and do some other things for us, it just makes more sense to put them under the support services. Technical services, the only change there is moving the circulation coordinator under technical services. It was under public services, but it didn't work. We tried it. It didn't work. It works better as far as the workflow and everything under technical services, which is where circulation was before I came. marketing and communications specialist, and then the programs coordinator. This was what we were calling public services, so the public services manager. And then we had a hybrid position, so we had a tech services clerk for part of the time, and then part of the time was marketing. So this would give us, by this change, would give us a full-time marketing person and a full-time program person. And then, of course, this position no longer has to, deal with the circulation. So it's a little more, spreads out the duties a little bit more evenly. HR, of course, I would like to move the office manager under the HR manager to be supervised by the HR manager, because eventually, when that position becomes vacant, I would like to combine those two positions into like a business manager position.
Does this involve hiring another person?
No, these are all existing, so we're not adding any positions, I'm just kind of moving things around.
Kind of with, they're working in this, doing these things right now.
Yes,
This is just basically legalizing how you have moved them around.
yes. So, the lady that is like a hybrid position now, she's doing marketing and technical services. So we're gonna move her completely to technical services. One of the technical services clerks that left, we do not plan to replace. And then that it would open up for a marketing person to be hired for a full-time position. So yeah, it's positions we kind of already have, so I'm not asking for any additional positions. And actually, we're gonna lose, a half of a full-time position. I do.
Is the reason these didn't work because of the position they were in, or did it have anything to do with the person that was filling that?
It didn't have anything to do with the person that was filling it, it's more the workload itself, and how we kind of had too much, and honestly, in our support services, I really feel like that's a little work heavy on that position as well. But with the turnover that we've had, it kind of presented itself to do it under public services, where we haven't had that opportunity yet in support services, without having to add an additional position.
Can you tell us about the technical services people? What are their positions? What do they do?
Okay, so technical services takes care of everything from, selecting materials, so acquisition. They catalog them, process them, so any stickers, barcodes, any of that stuff gets the RFID tags, programmed, if you will, into our system. They do all the cataloging, so they put them into, Evergreen, so that we, have access. And then they do everything all the way, any kind of collection development, all the way to deselection or weeding is part of theirs. And then also the circulation. So they deal with the courier when it comes in. We have two couriers, our trails courier, and then we have our MALA courier. And so, the circulation coordinator, they're doing interlibrary loans, and then they're doing the packing and unpacking of the courier and dealing with any kind of circulation issues. If we have lost, damaged items, they're the ones that contact the patrons, to try to get that resolved, or working with other libraries within Evergreen to get those things resolved, whether one of our patrons lost something or one of their patrons lost one of our items. Does that help?
It makes me more confused because you have tech services and marketing specialists under public in the old days,
Mhm.
and we're not doing that in the proposed, right? Where am I at?
Well, the proposed would be,
There's a different, yeah, there's a
This
different
is
one
the
than that,
proposed. There's a different one than this?
yeah, says proposed.
This is the one that's the current. I don't have a proposed, maybe that's why.
There it is.
There it is.
you should have one that's a proposed new structure. I put the old one, this is what you guys approved last time when I asked you guys to approve it back in January of last year. I just had them do it in the new format so that you kind of had comparison of the new proposed
I
structure.
understand now.
Okay.
Thank you.
I try not to make it too confusing.
Well, I was looking at the wrong area. No.
So I noticed that you don't have the courier on here.
Courier is the facilities tech one.
Okay. And what's the difference between him and Tech Two?
The Tech Two has more responsibilities, just like with our IT Tech Two, they have more responsibilities. And then the Facilities Tech One is mainly the courier, lawn care, and
Okay.
other things.
And the support services manager, who is that?
That's Roger Dumas.
Technical
And now this
services,
is the current format that you're looking at, not the, this would be the new one now.
But that's Roger.
Mhm.
Technical services, have we hired anyone?
So that's now Anita.
Okay, you moved in, you know,
So you're fine. Yep.
after it was Nate's.
Yes, Nate left. That was
So
Nate's
this is
position.
now Anita.
Mhm.
And she's got 3 clerks under her,
Mhm.
and the circulation coordinator was under,
Was under public
and
services.
who's that?
That's Tessa Moulton. Mhm.
Okay,
And so, because I was like, under the circulation is more public facing, so I thought that that would make more sense. It doesn't, because of the workflows and everything, it makes more sense to have them in the technical services department.
okay, and, you said somebody's doing halftime marketing?
They were. So this is, Andrea is the one that was doing the hybrid position. So we had two, so basically, even though she wasn't being supervised by tech services, she was still a half of the position in tech services. So one of our clerks that left, we decided not to replace. What we're going to do is move Andrea down into TS, which is going to open up a full-time marketing position.
Okay, if Andrea's doing half marketing now, who's doing the other half of the marketing?
Nobody, that's all we had, was a half. It's falling on the public services manager.
Do we need,
Excuse me, Judy?
do we need that extra person? To me, marketing is communication. That was a big push before.
Yeah, it's a lot, it's a beast. And I am finding out more since I've been here and working more directly. It's a lot. And to put, programming and marketing, communications, and then of course circulation, it was way too much. So that they'll be
So
more
we're moving.
specialized, I guess. Mhm.
We're just gonna have marketing and programming, or that's what we, yeah. that's
Right, yes,
proposed.
Do we have a new HR manager?
not yet. I have an interview tomorrow. Any other questions?
Is the office manager, is that Karen?
Uh-huh.
This is the one you have to replace.
And we have nobody doing,
Well, Anita is still part-time doing it. I'm doing some of it and then Karen's doing some of it. So we're kind of
so
sharing.
you're splitting that, so you're gonna,
With HR that you're splitting up right now, or multiple persons working it.
Yes, just to get us through until we get someone hired, yeah.
And Anita is going,
To technical services. She'll be the new technical services manager. Years ago, she was over technical
so
services.
she's been everything.
I know, she's been a little of everything, so. We weren't able to find someone, so.
Yeah.
I actually said it as a joke, when I was like, well, I'll just move you back down there. And she was like, oh, well, I could do that, whatever Trails needs. And I was like, are you serious? And she was like, yeah. So she applied for it and we interviewed her and
Was doing some of that anyway, wasn't she? Even before you,
we were all kind of helping since Nate left. There's been several people that have been helping out with TS responsibilities, yeah.
Is this part of the job description? Trying to figure out what the jobs are first before we.
Before we hire someone, we make sure we have an up-to-date job description. Yes. We have everybody's except for, I think there's 2 or 3, and then, of course, we need to work on that.
And I was gonna say, and we don't have one for you, you just do everything.
So I think there's 2 or 3 that we still need to update. But we haven't had vacancies there, so it hasn't been a priority, but yeah, I think they're all in the works, actually. So, and then of course, mine, we need to work on
Okay, so this, you have to hire somebody for that.
Mm-hmm.
This is,
Tessa, mm-hmm,
that's what, excuse me.
because she was the public services manager, yes.
So she's gonna be doing the marketing.
She will have a choice, and I think she's decided she would rather do the program coordinator versus the marketing.
Okay. She's going to be the program coordinator who is
Mhm.
under what she's supposed to
Mhm. Yeah, so she would have somebody supervise them.
be. Okay, she's supposed to supervise this person.
Mhm. The other person, if she chooses to stay with program coordinator, which is, I've talked to her and that's what she would prefer versus the marketing position.
And she's gonna be supervised. instead of
Then she would be
supervised,
supervised versus supervising.
Then,
Yeah, it should be supervised by the person above. That's how that, comes.
Who is the program? Do they have a husband?
Tessa is the public services manager, so she does programming, marketing, and she was doing circulation. as well.
But she's gonna go to strictly program.
Yes.
Do we have anyone else? Is there any?
No, we would have to hire that
Okay.
position.
well, then is Tessa voluntarily taking the promotion?
Pretty much, yeah.
Increase in pay?
That would have to be determined. I would have to look at where she is, the pay, like how the pay scales fall, whether we would actually reduce her salary. Usually we don't unless it's for a performance issue. We usually try to stick with it because these are gonna be close, and so they're gonna overlap as far as their, salary scale. They're gonna overlap.
And the experience that they bring in and everything else.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions? Or have I just completely,
So we're going to
confused
hire a
everybody?
new HR person
uh-huh,
and a new marketing person.
And through that all, we're losing a half a person. I mean, it's not costing our budget,
no, we're actually losing a half of a full-time.
we're gonna save a half of the salary there.
Yes.
Depending on the level of whatever.
So tech services is losing a half a
Yeah.
person essentially,
Yeah.
and the public services is gaining a half a
Yeah.
person.
So who's gonna pick up that workload?
What do you mean?
Well, if you're losing a half a person,
So,
you're going to be losing,
good question, good question. So a lot of that actually went to the circulation coordinator. And so there's not as much of a workload because the circulation coordinator's doing the circulation stuff. So interlibrary loan, they're dealing with the courier, all of that. So now tech services, they only have to do that when that person is out. So they are like their backup. Great question.
Basically, we're moving the work that she was doing back to her.
Pretty much,
Van,
yeah.
whatever.
Pretty much.
And she volunteered to do it, so that's a bonus.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody will do that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Guess we need a motion.
I move we accept the new structure as
I'll
it's
second
set up.
Motion by Patty Long, second by Sandy Hinky. Any other discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Item E, I'll take this since I'm the one proposing it. I am proposing that we amend, Article 3, Section 2 of our bylaws that relate to term of office. And the reason I'm proposing this is we currently have 2 vacancies on the board. In June, Ron, Judy Walter, and myself will off the board. That leaves 5 members of the board, only two of which, well, three. How long have you been on the board?
I'm on my first full term. I filled in and now I'm on my first.
She started, I think, right after
Yeah.
Okay, so Judy Tyler, Sandy Hinkie, and Carlin Dillon will be the most, when did you come on?
A year ago, January.
Okay, so,
She came after I did.
yeah, so only three of the board members after June will have more than a year of service,
And they're all from.
and they're all from Lafayette County. And then Judy Tyler drops off in June. She turns out in June.
a year from June.
A year from June, yeah. But I'm just saying that we would be starting off July 1st with only three board members that have more than a year of service. I don't think that's good. I just don't. I don't think it's good to have, in the past, people fulfilled their obligations and served a full term, and each year, only a couple people would drop off, and so the board stayed consistently experienced. We have a relatively new director, and we'll have a board. If we don't do something about the terms of, and this isn't, don't get me wrong, this isn't about arrogance. You all know that me and Ron were counting down the days, or down the months, but I just don't want to leave the, I just don't want to leave the library in that situation, because I think bad things can happen. Some of us have been through some bad things when things happen like that, so. In the information that we were given, it talks about pros of term limits. Staggered terms allow for continuity.
And they won't stagger that way.
No,
They will, because, some of them are
They're fulfilling a,
yeah.
a term, term.
but now I want to say concerning that, if we appoint somebody to fill our two vacancies right now, one of those seats, Jana Brookshire's, that person could potentially be on here for 11 and a quarter years, because of the way the bylaws are, that if you take somebody else's position, you can have two of your own terms.
That happened to Judy.
And then Georgia Jarman, her seat doesn't expire until June of next year. And so that person could potentially be on there for eight and a quarter years. So we've got to figure this out. I mean, that's just,
So you don't have any faith in the rest of us and think that we would be able to take up the slack? I mean, don't you think that we're all intelligent people and we could?
I'm not saying you're not, I'm not saying you're not, but some nefarious things can go on.
That's true, but
They went on with you guys here.
And hopefully we handled it.
I think we handled it pretty good too.
Yeah, but I mean, you can't say that that's the only reason, because bad things happened when you were here too.
Big bad things.
I'm just making a point.
Could we do it for a limited time?
Well, that was my proposal, was that us three could stay on for 1 year. Just to get.
Continuity going with
Mhm.
income.
But you're gonna go off in a year.
But that
and then
gives
nobody
you-
else will have any experience.
But that
then.
gives
all of us another year.
all of you another year. I'm just gonna say right now, I have no intention of, if this is proposed, I have no intention of staying on as president after June. So somebody else has gotta learn how to be the president. That's just,
Do we have any other options, rather than just changing the bylaws and taking out the term limit? Do we have any other option to,
It would have to be a change to your bylaws in order to
do anything?
yeah. You don't necessarily have to do away with the limits, but even what you're proposing, but I'm not sure how that will work, because you have 4-year terms, so you would still have to be appointed to another 4-year term, even if your intention was to only stay for a year. If not, then that messes up your term.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So the best thing we can do is to, I mean, I'm just talking out loud. The best thing we can do is repeal them right now, revisit it in a year to revert back to the bylaws if we would need to. Does that make sense?
so if you repeal them, that means you're doing away with them, no term limits at all.
Or, you know, we do that for a year and then we put that on our to-do list next March, April, whatever, we put that on our agenda, that we will reassess it at that time, whether to reinstate.
But if you have a lot of new board members, they may not want to reverse that, and then you're stuck with that.
I don't think that's a good idea to get away, to do totally away with this bylaw. I don't have another solution, but I don't think that it's a good idea to totally repeal that bylaw.
Would it help if we wrote our letter of resignation right now, effective June 24th? The three of us.
My concern is we don't have a full board.
Right.
I would feel better making this decision if we have a full board.
And we did away with that previously this evening.
No, but we're gonna meet in a week.
Next week,
So by the next meeting, I know, but by the next meeting, we'll have 2 new board members.
But that's not fair to put that on 2 new board members right off the, I don't think. They have no idea at that point. I mean, I wouldn't have any idea. If I was putting that, it's taken me a long time to figure out all, you know, what I need to do. It's taken me, you know, this length of time to really feel like I can
And
that's kind of intelligently ask questions where it takes that long to really get a feel of everything, because there's a lot of pieces.
My mouth just runs off.
Well, I know, you know, it just takes a while to get all those things in order.
and that's with any decision, though, that's put before a new board member, though.
Right.
I mean, no matter what it is, I mean, they're all decisions that the board has to make,
Right.
so.
So Ron, what is your thought, since you're one of the ones that are supposed to be?
Well, just my thought is this is gonna be just a few, I kinda agree with Scotty, I think we should be able to stay on and just renew this and delete this, 2 consecutive term deal. And just allow us to stay on for another year or whatever until we get off. Because
But my question is this, if all 3 of you only stay for a year, then we're still gonna we will lose 4 board members.
we didn't know whether you really wanted it more than just a year since it's so short. But in my opinion, we could stay another term, go another 3 years, the 3 of us, and keep things going since we're the way it should be.
But my point is this, if you're only gonna put it off for a year, then you will go off, Ron will go off, Judy will go off, and Judy will go off.
Yeah, you're in the same
So
boat again.
we're gonna just be in the same position again, we're gonna lose 4 if you guys just stay on a year. And you may get rid of the term limits, and Judy may say, I'm done with this today, I'm not fulfilling mine.
Or anybody.
Anybody, I mean, if there's nothing,
I don't think it's a good idea to delete the term limits. I think that needs to stay in place, but
why,
Then the term
does
limits.
anybody know why the term limits were put on?
well, it's like with any office or
Any
whatever,
board,
you know.
All the lots of bylaws.
Yeah, that you have term limits, because if not, you're not ever gonna have any change come about. You know, it's the same people, same ideas, same, you know, viewpoints, all of that.
But the ideas, if that's the logic, the ideas don't come from the board generally, they come from staff. And then we talk about the idea, but we don't sit around coming up with the ideas. So if that is the logic, then we should change management every couple of years. To get,
Well, you have here lately.
Yeah, more than every couple.
So we wish we could shorten even more.
What happens if you, Well, I guess even if you change the term limits to, I guess you can't make one term limit 4 years, one 5 years, and one 6 years.
That's how
I'm
you
with Carla,
originally
though, one,
started.
at some
That would-
point,
That's how you get it
have-
started to
that
begin
way
with, when you
And
start.
maybe, and maybe
start
that's,
one way,
maybe
no
we
matter
need
when
to
it is.
piecemeal it out, so we do have,
You staggering.
yeah, and just figure out, who's, I mean, surely somebody, has a, Ron says he's willing to stay for 3 years, so my goodness, here we got one that's, he's willing to stay, how he stays for 2 years, so whoever else is 1 year, whatever.
I'll stay for a year and leave.
Well, what I'm saying, if we do it like
To
that,
get back to,
we're still back and we're staggering it. We're not getting rid of everything all at the same time, any which time, whatever. It's gonna stagger. We just have to alter that term limit from 4 years to 5 years, 6 years, or whatever, how that goes. Does that kind of make sense?
makes sense to me.
I mean, I think that's,
My other thought is this. We have such a terrible, terrible time because we're such horrible people to keep board members.
yeah.
I mean, how many board members have we been to in the last couple of years?
How many have we been through the last 2 months?
Well, exactly.
Gotta keep chasing away.
I mean, and here we have at least
I'm just
2 or maybe
concerned-
3 people.
We just keep turning over board members.
Yeah, but at least we have 3 that have enough interest and have enough guts to stand up and say, I'm willing to stay to make this work.
Well, we
I
also
think
have-
that's admirable of these people to buck up for another 2 or 3 years a term. I mean, I just think that's admirable of these people.
We
because
also
not,
have enough guts to say, BS, what you're proposing isn't gonna work.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think that's been somewhat of a problem the last few years. Maybe
What's that?
the fact that we're kind of known as the old fogies.
Oh, yeah.
And if there was an idea that really wasn't from before the whole board, but then we were presented with that idea at a meeting one evening, and they wanted to do that, and we voted against it. And I think that some of the younger ones didn't like that, because they were already hooked into doing what we didn't feel we
That
should be
would be
wasting
a-
our money on.
That would be mobile internet, would it?
What would be called, it was put under the.
Bookmobile, or it's not a
300,000.
bookmobile.
Technically, not a whole lot, I mean,
Anyway,
huh?
So that was before.
I know it was.
I hate to see people go that are willing to stay and put in the work.
I do too. I hate,
And like I said, we have had a problem with staying. I just wish there was some other way we could do it without completely changing all our bylaws.
The only
But
way you
that's
can do
the
it
only way
is
we
to
can do it.
change the bylaws, or, put an exception in the bylaws. But for me, when you start doing that, it's almost like,
we can't
we're a
make
public.
exceptions. We
Right.
can't make it say
You have to
exceptions.
treat everybody the same, and so, what is this document
Well,
for if you're not gonna?
Can
follow
we
it?
even do that without the county commissioners
So-
approving it?
No.
They don't have.
Bylaws are ours.
No. The bylaws are ours, but they appoint our board members. So they can override no matter what you have. If they say, nope, we have to stick to the 2 4-year terms, then that's what we have to do. They have to call the
But they
shots.
also have to approve whoever we recommend.
Right.
They
Right.
also have to approve.
Mhm.
The county
They're having a difficult time keeping members on their board,
Are they?
they might go on.
Well, we don't
And-
have
and
to
we
make a
could change
decision
it
tonight, do we?
Yes.
We got till June.
We could
But I think
change it
it's
to
nice for
say
these guys to know what.
3-year, or a 3 terms limit versus the 2.
But then are we gonna change it every time some issue comes up?
No, we can't, but right now, I think we've been in such transition, and the fact that Jackie this is her second full year, do I want to say?
Not quite.
Not quite.
Yeah.
But even though I've only been here a little while, I've been doing this for a while. So,
Yes,
I
exactly,
worked with
yeah,
board
she's
people.
been doing it for a long time, but this whole board has been in a lot of transition over a 2-year period.
And we could leave in the meantime. I think we all would.
And to get these, and I think we need to,
I mean, I kind of want to piggyback off of something that Patty said, do you not trust us to, keep things going? And I think also, that it, even if that's not the intention, I think it does say that in some form. And then also, if you're trying to recruit new people, what is that telling them? You don't trust us to, just because they've never served on the Trails Board doesn't mean that they maybe haven't served on another board somewhere and have some experience. I just really think it's a slippery slope.
I just-
Start down that road.
I'm just concerned, and we talked about this last time, Ron, jump in here. We've never advertised we've spent money advertising for board members, and we've never done it that way before. And now we've got 7 applications, but they're all from Warrensburg. Why did we not get anything from,
One from Holden.
who's the other one from Holden?
and I'm in the belief, I don't think you should have to advertise for board members. I think that's not good.
That's what I've always done, because it's not how do you give everybody in your district an opportunity to serve on the board or to apply to serve on the board. The two.
The last two.
I don't
Oh.
see anything wrong with opening up our applications.
If not, it's limited to the people that you guys know.
Not us.
Not,
We also go to the library
yeah.
and ask for their input.
Mhm.
Who's active in the library
Mhm.
here?
Yeah.
Who's active over here? What have they been doing? Have they been checking down a lot of books, doing a lot of reading? Are they involved in the book club or the Friends of the Library or whatever? Let's get those are the people that are already interested.
But before we started advertising, it was like pulling teeth to get applicants.
Right, and now what does that tell us? That we're advertising and people are flocking to get in? That tells me something.
Well, that's why we want to meet them face to face, and you don't even want to do that.
We have to meet them. And if you don't, I like to talk to people in community meetings where I'm at, if they're interested, or business people that I have dealings with, that I have talked to some that are, somewhat interested, and I didn't get real pushy with them, but I think I could have had several that would have, and I just,
But still, it really limits. Yeah, yeah, you can certainly still ask people that you know and talk to people at the library. I know we have the branch managers, like Laura took off. But anyway, that look out for people if they know that they think would be a good board member to approach them and ask them to apply. But if not, you're just really limiting it to just a certain people.
And now,
If you don't advertise.
no offense to the applicants that we have, but we could get anybody in off the street that doesn't.
We don't have to
Library.
accept their application, though. We have to look at them and decide that we
But
want them to be.
We only.
I've gone to the library legislative day for many years, haven't gone for a couple, but ever so often, some state legislature introduces legislation to make this job an elected position. And MLA always opposes that because we don't want to politicize this job. And I feel like advertising is the same thing as,
It is.
politicizing.
I think it is kind of.
That's the only way I found out about the position.
Anyway, anytime that I have ever done this, it was always through advertising. Always.
Well,
we're
we
in
came from a
Missouri.
much larger place. No.
Jackie, we're in Missouri.
Hmm?
We're in Missouri now.
Yeah.
Girl, I was in Missouri before I went to North Dakota. We advertised
Judy,
there.
that's how I found out about the position,
Well, I
otherwise.
knew we didn't want you.
I know, see?
But you don't get the word out to everybody if you don't advertise.
Saying that we are not gonna advertise, we're public, aren't we? So we really cannot exclude.
You have to give everybody in your service area an
Where
opportunity.
did we advertise? I saw it in the newspaper, which there's,
We put it on our Facebook, website, and then if there's a newspaper, any newspaper that's in that county.
Anybody can apply.
all right.
Anybody can apply.
I saw it in the Odessa, is where I saw
But they're not as likely to if they don't know about.
Exactly. Because we have a lot of users now that are purely digital. They never actually come into that physical library building.
There you go,
Sandy.
Well, and I have this
And see,
concern too. We are creatures of habit. I do it, I know everybody does it. That, how long have you been secretary? How long have you been secretary?
I've been a secretary for a long time, I hadn't been doing minutes until.
Right, but you've been the secretary a long time. How long have you been president?
A long time.
How long have you been vice?
Long time.
How long have you been treasurer?
A long time.
Okay, so you guys have stuck in those offices, and I appreciate you and I applaud you, but no one else knows that job.
But, you know, all of you can
But we
say,
vote you in every year.
we're not voting in this year.
I mean,
It's our job.
the other people have voted you in every year. I mean, I guess that says you did a great job.
No, it says they don't want to do the job.
Well, that's exactly it.
You know, it's the way it is.
Maybe we should look at term limits on
The
who's
office.
the officers and not so much on how long they sit on the board.
That's fine.
That's, I think that's mentioned in here, term limits on officers.
What did you just say?
Not that I really want to be an officer either, that I have to be, but what I'm saying is, you guys have done the job so long that no one else knows how to do it.
Oh, this is.
I would say, she's got the hard job.
Yeah, I was gonna say hers is probably the hardest.
Well, a board, the point of a board is to keep it moving and to be fluid. It's not supposed to be stagnant and stay. You shouldn't have to be the president forever. She shouldn't win. Other people should have to take that.
We vote in officers every year,
Every year.
and every year I've been on the board, we just go with the same ones and go on.
Well, I mean, maybe that's,
Yeah.
maybe if we get some
So if you-
new people, maybe
If
they'll
you
want
impose
to
a
take
term
on.
limit on that, then that forces other people to step up and be part of the.
Well, that's, yeah,
I don't agree.
That's right. And I mean, one thing too, I mean, a board member, once they've turned out, so they've served their 2 full terms, they only have to stay off for 2 years and then they can reapply and come back. So hopefully this place isn't gonna fall apart in 2 years.
Oh, we've had our share. We may be idiots, but we're not fools. Well, in order to change a bylaw, we have to have a unanimous agreement, and I don't think we'll have that.
Does the vote have to be unanimous?
According to
It's a
the
repeal.
paragraph, it does.
The first time that you present it, it has to be passed unanimously. In the absence of a unanimous vote, such amendments shall be considered passed and enforced by a majority vote at the next regular board meeting. So it has to be brought back.
So we can rebrought it back, okay.
Well, what if you changed it instead of,
Which is unusual. Usually if you change bylaws, it is a unanimous
Yeah.
decision, no
Right.
matter what.
what
This
if
is the
we,
first time I've ever
what
seen
if
that.
we changed it from 2 4-year terms to 3 3-year terms?
Well, you are messing it up now.
That would give you,
Another,
that'd give you 3 years.
It would give us a year. 3
That's to
is
give you
9.
three, what do you mean, like give you 3 years?
If we change the term limits from 2 4-year terms, 2 4 years to 3 3 years.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
It's gonna give you a year,
Give you 2 more years.
no, 1 year.
How do you figure 1, Judy?
Because they've already.
4 is 8 years. That's the reason I'm there.
Usually starting completely.
And 3 is 9.
but he'll start a brand new term, that'd give it 3 years. A brand new term will give it.
But how does that mess with everybody's
That's it,
existing
it's gonna mess
terms
with
and
all the other terms too.
Yeah.
how would that, I mean, I don't know how that would work.
I don't know, I just shooting
That's the
numbers
reason
out there.
I'm the treasurer and you're not.
Like others says, you can make whatever numbers you want those to be.
That's right.
Well, thank goodness your daughter's not.
You wouldn't want to work for her, I'm telling you.
I mean, you can make.
Nobody wants to work for a woman.
I mean, I could truly understand, you know, changing the bylaws or making amendments if we weren't getting applications, but we are. You know, we've got 7 for 2 vacancies right now.
I know, and that's, I mean, that's just, I still feel like some of the, I mean, granted, it's wonderful we have those, but I also think that, I think it's good that they come from recommendations as well.
I think you'll miss out on a lot of good board members if you.
I think it needs to come all the way. I think it's
all the way around, yeah.
Already.
All the way around.
I mean, I don't think we should like hit these people before we actually give them an opportunity to give it a shot.
Yeah, because I don't think anybody knew Jane or Patty, right? Did anybody know you?
I don't know, I mean, I didn't even know I got elected until
I knew Patty.
they called me
Okay, so
and I was like, okay.
Oh,
Manager.
okay.
Yeah, they told me at the library that and I was like, okay.
Oh, and guess what, Kevin?
But I mean, just because you don't know somebody doesn't mean they're not gonna be a wonderful board member.
Well, and the thing of it is, you may not know him like you said, but you did, and then
I think y'all told here when I came,
Do we
Oh,
not,
you did.
do we not
or
talk
any of
over
the
every
ones
now?
over here.
and not only that,
Do we not
Exactly.
talk about them and?
it was put in by the commissioners, and we thought she was coming in.
And now we're making it where we're gonna meet them face to face, so.
They were, I was put in here because there was a whole big deal with the Porter Library.
You were a problem child, huh?
We went here to apply.
You got thrown to the wolves, didn't
I did, kind of. And I think they were all going like, why do we have her?
Because, well, because we were perfectly happy with the one that was in there before. What are they trying to pull on us?
You know, I think, you know, we could talk about this for another couple of hours. I'm gonna go out on a limb with the fact that I'm gonna make a motion and that it's probably gonna have to come back to the next meeting, that we'll have to bring it up and vote again, but I think it's just my gut feeling that I think that we should repeal these as suggested on Article E, that we ought to repeal that for the time being, and then take the blows that we may in a year if we have to do something different. But I think we really need to allow these people to stay. They have the heart to stay and have bucked up. I think that we should repeal that for the time being. That's my motion.
We have a motion, we have a second.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Sandy, second by Carlin. Any other discussion? I think we should take a roll call vote, please.
Judy Walter,
Yes.
Patty Long,
I vote no.
Jane Zeal,
No.
Carolyn Dillon,
I am so on the fence, but I'm gonna vote yes.
Sandy Hickey,
Yes.
Ron McMullen,
Yes.
Judy Tyler. Kind of like Carlin, I'm a little on the fence after all this discussion.
It's already not unanimous.
Yes, and Scotty Walker.
Yes.
Motion carries with 6 ayes and 2 noes.
Which means what?
It did not pass.
It did not pass.
So we can vote again. It'll be on the agenda for the next meeting.
All right.
And should we check with the commissioners and see if we can do this? Or do we just know that we can't? We can change our
I mean,
bylaws.
you can change the bylaws, but they don't have to follow them when they're, as far as the appointment. If they want to stick with the 2 4-year terms, then it's up to them.
Just take our, my biggest complaint with it is even if we, I don't wanna be going back and forth all the time, adjusting the bylaws.
But I think your motion, though, just repealed it, but don't you have to have something to replace the term of office?
No.
No? You just totally repeal it? Get rid of it?
But
But I think you have to speak to the term of office.
we can do that. If we repeal, then we can replace. Correct?
I mean, you can always make a change, but the way it was written, it was to repeal it, which means to take it out.
It says amend.
But her motion was to repeal.
I said as in section E.
Consider approval to amend the bylaws to repeal that section. With the agenda item.
So now a motion could be made to replace.
No, because the motion didn't pass, right?
We have to wait till the next meeting to vote again.
But we could have a replacement ready to go.
Yes,
Yes.
I would think so, yes.
A trigger. So do you want to do that tonight?
Sure.
You have to wake him up.
Come on, well, get over here, I'm not gonna bite
Do
you.
you make a motion?
Well, somebody needs to.
Can we still do it now, or do we have to wait till next meeting?
I don't see why we can't have a replacement amendment in place. That
So what do you
just,
mean in place?
a replacement amendment, so we don't have.
You mean you're just gonna set up wording? Is that what?
We don't have to go through
Yes.
all.
I think that would have to be a completely separate agenda item because of the way this is written,
Right,
to repeal it, because the motion was to repeal, just what it says here.
yes.
To repeal it, which is to get rid of it. So if that's what you're bringing back next month to the next meeting, it has to be the exact same thing that's brought back. So it would be
But it can be majority vote will,
to repeal it.
yes,
Then if you wanted to change it, then that would have to be a separate
at that time.
agenda item, but then it would have to be a unanimous decision as well. If not, then you would have to bring it back.
again, yeah.
Does that make sense to everybody?
We're either all in or we all in, if we're not unanimous, then we vote again. And then if it passes with a majority, then we can make a new trigger and then we can vote it. Then we will do either unanimous or then we will vote again at the next one for majority rule. Is that,
I'm lost, I don't know what we're doing.
well,
So
we're,
instead of repealing it, we're wanting to change it. Now, is that what you're saying?
What Jackie said is that because we just voted on that and it didn't pass, we have to.
You have to it has to be the
redo
exact
same
same
thing,
vote.
the same motion.
we have to vote on the exact same thing in that, on the agenda.
And then you could have a separate
then-
agenda item that if you wanted to add, change the language or whatever, that would be a separate item that you would have to vote on at the next meeting as well. So it would be 2 separate items on the agenda.
Okay,
And then if it didn't pass
you.
unanimously for that new language, then it would have to be brought back the second time for a majority decision.
Well, put about 6 agenda items on there, will you, concerning it, so we don't swab it up.
Do what? I'm sorry?
Put about 6 agenda items on the agenda concerning this.
Just 2.
Oh, just, come on.
You're off now, just quit it.
You're gonna get rid of me, so I
No.
think I should resign my position on
We're
the
not
board.
trying to get rid of you, that's not.
No, but
saying
like
at all.
Carolyn made the comment, and I have to admit, I came into this position, I'd only been on the board a couple months. And took me a while to figure out what I was doing. And I knew how to go through and asking a lot of questions, you know, on the listing what it was, you know, what's this for? Why are we doing that? In fact, we didn't even get that listed.
But maybe this would give you a chance, maybe, maybe maybe we can get a pro tem treasurer person that they could, you could work with them for a year.
That's what I was saying, I should resign next month.
No.
Because my position goes away, my term goes away in June. That makes sense?
Nothing is easy.
No, I mean, you would just continue through June. We wouldn't want you to stop 2 months early.
Come on, folks.
You're just talking about resigning, you're just talking about resigning your office, that's
Right.
the thing, yeah.
Right,
Oh, that's a good idea, that's what I should do.
yeah.
Are you all saying that you want to resign, and then you're going to fill out applications to become a board member to fill the unexpired
What I'm
term?
saying is,
We're resigning our positions. The president.
Oh, they're resigning
Not the board.
that's a really good idea.
I told you, you just muzzle me when I come in the door. Just,
We love you anyhow.
no. You know what I got when I came on the board? I came to the meeting,
Yeah,
right over there.
and you're
And
sitting
they
up-
said, come up here and
It
sit in
was
because
in
when you've been
Waverly.
appointed as a board member. A book was put in front of me like this and said, welcome to the board.
Did you get a book?
Yeah, they gave me a book at the meeting,
Big old.
big old book.
See, mine was like this, 1-inch binder.
Read over that and figure it out.
Yeah, and now we have the orientation in place, trainings that are available. David, you wouldn't just be thrown to the wolves. That's kind of what I was. I think most of you have been through the orientation and some of the trainings and stuff.
No, hard now.
I think
We got
Judy,
orientation.
Ron, and Scotty are the only ones that haven't. But
I
you-
haven't.
Yeah, you did. You and Georgia came to my office.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, we did. That's what that was? Okay.
Did you learn something?
I guess I did. I just was kind of online.
You said you did at the time.
Yeah, I did.
All right, do you have any announcements?
I have one.
Oh, yes.
I have a new business thing that I would like, and it will be something that probably would have to go on next month's agenda. And I don't know enough about it, but, it seems as though we have had an awfully lot of problems with ADP. And when I worked, we did ADP, we did a payroll of at least 300 people. We did it in 4 hours on a Monday morning. Check showed up on Wednesday, and it took us 4 hours to do. I think we probably have 50 people. I don't understand why we have so many problems and so many things that seem to go wrong with ADP, because they are a payroll business. Something is, I think just something is amiss or something. I can't figure it out why we still have issues with ADP after we've used them for a year or so now.
I can put it on the agenda for.
I agree,
Um,
I've thought this for a while.
and the only reason I'm gonna ask, and I'm not bragging about my daughter, but she's Chief Financial Officer at Crown Center, she's the president, and she knows finances frontwards, backwards, and sideways. And so I've asked her about what she thinks about ADP and whatever, and she said they're in the business of doing it, and she said there should be no problem. She said that goes off point, because they do this for hundreds and hundreds of companies. And then, she asked me about, when I was working, I said, we did it in 4 hours. And the only thing, and we had 300, some union employees, some not, salaried, whatever. And the only time those things really change, unless you've got a change of employees, and the hours are what you put in. And I don't know enough about the system, so I'm gonna ask, how is their time recorded every week? Do we have hand scanners or what?
They clock in.
They clock in and out on the computer, which some of our people were allowed to do that.
But we've got people here that have been on, 3 systems now? Some of them are stubborn.
But ADP is not that hard to use.
I know, but they're stubborn and they won't do it right.
We're saying the people don't do it right.
People don't do it.
Then we need to implement training, or they need to,
And that's what I'm saying, they're reducing that part of it, I think.
If they can't do the task, then yes, then we need to do something, because we're paying a lot of money for 50 people. I mean, 50 people payroll, I've done that for, years. That's 50 is a piece of cake compared to 300, and sometimes we have as many as 400, and sometimes we have 20 to 50 new employees every week, the way things roll, but we still got it done. And I just don't understand. I don't understand. So something that needs to be investigated, I guess. That's all I'd like to say, that I'd like that on the agenda, and I don't know how we go about it, but I think it needs.
That's all you had to do, was say, request to have it on.
Okay,
And
we're
it'll be
good. Well, and I'm like Judy's saying, if they can't learn it, then we need to find somebody else that works for us, that is good at that and that can understand it. Because in my job, if I didn't learn the new software, I wouldn't have had a job. They would have gotten rid of me in a heartbeat. So that's where I am. And I know it's hard to find employees, but there are people out there that can, that can. I'm done.
Do you just want to discuss it here, or do you want to bring somebody in on the agenda?
I don't know if ADP, do they send somebody else to,
I don't know, I wasn't here when that was all.
I know we actually went to ADP. We went there in Kansas City to their office. So,
Our folks, the people that actually handle it, I think they came down to Lawrenceburg and worked with them and gave the education to a whole gamut of the place. I don't know how it was done, if it was done on computer, read this and read that, that type of thing, but,
You'll remember I was opposed to it,
Yeah,
and I think you were too.
so was I.
Yeah.
I mean, I just can't, and I can't tell by some of the stuff how much we are really paying ADP to do that service.
A lot.
Yeah, and so I'm just, this is just purely, I'm thinking a payroll of 50 people, that's a job, that's a job we could give a local person for 50 people. That is not a big payroll by any means. Well,
But it was,
contract can't be broken.
it was sold as they had training. They had these training things for the insurance and training videos for their benefits and stuff that was supposed to be coming through ADP. Is that true?
I mean,
Yeah.
But that's all it can,
This is kind of a discussion, and we're really not supposed to be discussing because it
Well,
wasn't on the agenda.
things at ADP, I mean, those things come in, I'll call it canned. They're all specifically set up when you get ADP. They specifically are set up for your company. I'm not talking about whatever, but that's just the way they set those things up. And I just think we need to revisit that, because I think we could give somebody a job, a local person, a job, maybe cheaper, and it wouldn't even have to be a full-time job probably. And we might be cheaper than ADP, hiring a local person. I don't know. I just think I think it needs to be looked into.
All right, we'll have that on the agenda. And you have an announcement?
Yes, so, public safety technician positions ended as of February 28th. So with the installation of the security cameras, I had planned to end one of those at the end of February. They actually resigned early, I think early February. The other one actually applied for a vacant library clerk position, in Warrensburg. So we have that person full-time hired on staff, but we can still take advantage of their skill set, to continue doing that as part of their job. And then as we don't need them, then they can transition fully to that, to the library clerk duties.
Anything else? Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.